3. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Excuse me, Professor. I was hoping you had a second to talk about class.
Hi, Gracie. I'm happy that you came. I've been curious about the students' sentiments toward the class. So what's on your mind?
Well, honestly, I guess I'm just having a problem with the setup of the class. I feel like you don't give us the information we need during class, and that we're, kind of wasting time with the group discussions.
What do you mean, exactly?
Well, it just seems like every time I'm in a group discussion, nobody's ever really sure what we're supposed to talk about.
But the purpose of the group discussion is to see what ideas you all have. I figured nobody wanted to hear me go on and on by myself.
No, and I can appreciate that, but I don't know. I mean, you are the authority.
And here I was thinking I was probably boring everyone to death with the lectures.
No, definitely not. I mean, I'm pretty interested in hearing what you have to say.
That certainly gives me something to think about. Thanks for your input.
No problem. And I want you to know I really do enjoy your class. See you later.
1. What is the main topic of the conversation? 2. What problem does the woman have with the professor's class? 7. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Excuse me, Professor, do you mind if I ask you a question about the course outline?
Hi. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to remember everyone's name. Is it Paul?
Right. It must be hard trying to keep track of everybody, huh? Anyway, I was wondering about the course outline. See, here it says that we'll be working from the 3rd edition of Classical Mechanics. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. If you're wondering why I didn't assign the most recent edition, it's a purely economic decision. The editions are virtually identical, and I don't think it's right to have students pay 50% more for the newest edition, if it's all the same anyway.
I appreciate that. But the reason I was concerned is because that's the same book that Professor Maggart uses in his introductory course. So I guess I just wasn't sure about how much material will be repeated from that course.
Really? I don't understand. Why would he use that book? There are much more comprehensive basic textbooks for an intro course on electricity and magnetism.
I think that's a different course. I'm talking about Foundations of Mechanics, or something like that. It's a prerequisite for just about all of the upper-level courses in the physics department. That's why I know about it.
I guess that makes sense then. You know, this is the first time I've ever heard about us using the same book. Do you remember what chapter you got up to?
If I remember correctly, it was up to Chapter 6, which would be,
Calculus of Variations. Well, I'm kind of surprised that that's as far as he took you all in the survey course on classical mechanics, especially since it's a prerequisite for the department. But anyway, as for your question, unfortunately there will be some overlap. I can tell you right now that we'll be blowing through the first 6 chapters within the first couple weeks of class. I'll mostly just review that material, especially now that I know that everyone in the course is supposed to have taken an entire semester on it.
Okay, and if that's the case, would it be safe for me to assume that we'll be covering more advanced topics then?
Most definitely. My course will give you deeper knowledge of those subjects. Is there anything else?
Nope, that answers my questions. Thank you so much. See you in class.
Bye, Paul.
1. What are the speakers mainly discussing? 2. What concerns does the student have about the professor's textbook choice? 3. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Hey, John, how are you today?
I'm good. Actually, I need to ask you a question.
Sure, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm really concerned about my performance in class. I feel as though my grades haven't been as good as I'd like them to be, and, well, I was hoping to ask you what I can do to bring them up.
Sure. We still have the final exam, so doing well on that is your best bet. Well, let's see. Let me get the grade book. Okay, so I see that you got a 78 on your midterm exam.
Yeah, even though I studied and studied for it.
I always suggest studying smarter rather than just studying more. Study only the large main points of the book and my lectures. Oh, and of course on top of that, make sure you're taking the suggestions I make in class about what to study.
Well, I thought I did that, and I was pretty sure that I took everything in. It didn't quite hit me until I received my test grade.
Well, come see me before the final exam so I can clear up the main points. I certainly don't expect you to remember everything I say, but I absolutely don't mind going over what to expect.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Sure. I'm usually available in the afternoons, so come see me anytime you're uncertain about something.
1. Why is the student worried about the class? 2. What advice does the professor give to the student about studying for the final exam? 3. What does the professor suggest the student do before the final exam? 7. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Hi, Kate. How's it going?
Pretty well, thanks. I hope I'm not bothering you.
No, I have time right now. What's up?
Well, I took your class on public policy last semester,
Yes, I remember.
and I see that you're teaching 2 other courses in the political science department this semester. I went to both classes and I'm very interested in both of them. However, my schedule is so full that it won't permit me to take both, so I have to choose one of them.
I see.
I was hoping that you could help me decide. So one of them is Introduction to International Relations, and the other one is Representations of Race in Politics. Both of them look great, right up my alley.
Okay. Now, what year are you in, Kate?
I'm actually only a freshman. This is my 2nd semester.
Well, the second course is somewhat advanced, so I usually recommend that for either juniors or seniors.
I thought about that, but I also know that courses in political science are always changing, and I'd like to take this course before it's no longer offered.
Okay, fair enough. The International Relations course is for those who are more business-oriented. Are you interested in working for an international corporation after you graduate?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, tell me, what is it about political science that got you interested in the first place?
I've always been interested in the ways that various policies affect minorities, and I'm just realizing how much they affect me. I think that this field opens up an entirely new world for me.
Interesting. Well, like I said, representations of race in politics is a bit advanced, and I usually wouldn't recommend it to a freshman. But in your case, I think you can probably handle it. You're just beginning to develop a strong awareness of your identity in relation to society and its constructions of race, and perhaps the best way to dig into it is by studying it. You could also bring your personal experiences to class and allow others to learn from you.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. What a relief. I really, really wanted that class.
1. According to the student, why can't she take both classes? 2. According to the professor, the class Introduction to International Relations is best for which of the following? 3. What advice does the professor give to the student? 3. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Hi, Professor Burke. Do you have a couple of minutes to talk?
Of course I do. What can I help you with?
I was hoping that you could give me some advice. See, yours is the first class I've taken in psychology, and I've really enjoyed it so far. So much so that I'm starting to wish it was my major. Do you think that I could do that? Switch my major?
Really? What a great compliment. Let me tell you about the major requirements, and then we can talk about what you do next.
Actually, I read about the requirements. I was at the registrar's office earlier, and I found the department handbook. I guess my biggest concern at this point is if I'll have the time to fulfill the requirements, especially the lab requirements.
I see. Yes, the lab requirements are pretty rigorous. What year are you in again?
This is my 4th semester.
I see. Well, that certainly is late to change majors, but you might think instead about making psychology your minor, since it takes less time. You won't have that same level of specialization that a major would grant you, but at this point I think it's probably your best bet. But a major isn't out of the question. I'd advocate some deep thought at this point. Take some time to weigh your options.
You're right. Thank you so much.
1. Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
See, yours is the first class I've taken in psychology, and I've really enjoyed it so far. So much so that I'm starting to wish it was my major. Do you think that I could do that? Switch my major?
Really? What a great compliment. Let me tell you about the major requirements, and then we can talk about what you do next.
Why does the professor say this?
What a great compliment.
2. Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
I guess my biggest concern at this point is if I'll have the time to fulfill the requirements, especially the lab requirements.
I see. Yes, the lab requirements are pretty rigorous. What year are you in again?
This is my 4th semester.
Why does the professor say this?
What year are you in again?
3. Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
You won't have that same level of specialization that a major would grant you, but at this point I think it's probably your best bet. But a major isn't out of the question. I'd advocate some deep thought at this point. Take some time to weigh your options.
You're right. Thank you so much.
Why does the professor say this?
I'd advocate some deep thought at this point.
7. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Hi, Professor Albright. I hope this isn't a bad time. If you don't mind, I just wanted to ask you a quick question.
Hi, Caroline. I've got a couple of minutes to spare. What's the problem?
I just don't know what to do. I was reviewing the finals schedule on the website yesterday, and I realized for the first time that the final for your class is Thursday at 9 a.m.
No, that can't be right. My schedule says Tuesday morning. Maybe there was a mistake in the schedule.
That's what I thought too, so I asked my other professors. And it turns out that according to the official university calendar, this final is on Thursday, not Tuesday.
Oh no, I must have been looking at last year's academic calendar. This is a disaster. Then again, if I'm the only one that was going by that calendar, I guess all that really means for my students is that they get 2 extra days to study. I can't see anybody objecting to that.
Well, I sort of have a problem. See, this semester I'm taking a theater class, and for our final, we have to do a solo performance for the class. Since I didn't think I had any commitments for Thursday, that's when I signed up to do my performance.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Would you be able to switch places with someone else in the class?
I already asked some people in my class, but the fact is that there are so few slots and so many people that there's really no way to change. I really hate to ask, but I wanted to know if I could take the final on a different day.
Oh, Caroline, I don't know. The university has strict policies about that kind of stuff. I'd have to request another lecture hall and find a proctor to administer the test.
See, if I can't do my performance, I'll fail the course. It's such a big component that it's worth 45% of our grade for the semester.
Okay, I definitely wouldn't want that. Listen, here's what I'm going to do. Tomorrow during the lecture, I'll tell the class and then see how many other students will be affected. And I won't forget about you. Then we can all try to figure out an alternative time that will work for everyone.
1. Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
I was reviewing the final schedule on the website yesterday, and I realized for the first time that the final for your class is Thursday at 9 a.m.
No, that can't be right. My schedule says Tuesday morning. Maybe there was a mistake in the schedule.
Why does the professor say this?
Maybe there was a mistake in the schedule.
2. Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
Well, I sort of have a problem. See, this semester I'm taking a theater class, and for our final, we have to do a solo performance for the class. Since I didn't think I had any commitments for Thursday, that's when I signed up to do my performance.
Why does the student say this?
Since I didn't think I had any commitments for Thursday, that's when I signed up to do my performance.
3. Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
Tomorrow during the lecture, I'll tell the class and then see how many other students will be affected. And I won't forget about you. Then we can all try to figure out an alternative time that will work for everyone.
Why does the professor say this?
And I won't forget about you.
3. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Hey, Harold, anything I can do for you?
Actually, yeah, Professor Steele. I had a dentist appointment on the day that we went over the material for the upcoming exam. Even though I've borrowed notes from another student, I feel like I still have a shaky grasp on what to expect.
Okay, sure. But shaky, how?
Well, I know that you'll be asking about society's perceptions of mental illness. I'm not sure, though, in how much detail.
Well, let's put it this way. The exam has 20 multiple-choice questions, but those are just basic concepts, so you should have no problems with those. The rest of the exam consists of essay questions.
That's the part I'm worried about.
Okay, well, the 2 essays will mainly go over the topics we've covered more than once, since those are the most important things we've covered. What I said in the review session was that I don't want to be reading essays about what people think about those topics in general. I mean, they should reflect a deep understanding of the material, not something that a first-year student could answer. I know I keep restating that, but it's happened a lot in the past.
Okay, then, I'll remember that. Anything else?
Not really. If you've listened to lectures, you should do just fine on the exam.
1. What is the student's attitude toward the exam? Two. Which of the following best reflects the professor's attitude toward the exam? 3. What does the professor mean when she says this?
I don't want to be reading essays about what people think about those topics in general. I mean, they should reflect a deep understanding of the material, not something that a first-year student could answer. I know I keep restating that, but it's happened a lot in the past.
7. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Professor Jones?
Hey, Zach, come in. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, in fact, that's why I'm here. I've been sick, and I'm pretty worried about my grades.
I understand, for sure. So what's on your mind?
Well, I've been meeting with one of the deans, and she's advised me to go directly to my professors to discuss what policies each one has about, well, students that get sick and then suffer academically. I have to be honest with you. I just don't think I can finish classes this semester.
I don't really have any specific policy, but in my experience, students who do get sick tend to go on medical leave, which is when students get permission to take time off from school in order to recuperate.
Right. I heard from the dean that it takes quite a while to process a medical leave, and since the end of the semester is drawing near, I'd end up with an incomplete for my classes this semester.
Well, that wouldn't be the end of the world.
Thing is, I'm on a scholarship, and one incomplete semester, then, well, the scholarship will be withdrawn.
Ah, I see. This is a bit complicated. So there's just no way you can finish up on time. In that case, let me see. Well, how about I give you an OH?
Sorry, an OH?
Yeah, it stands for on hold, and it wouldn't register as an incomplete. It's nice because it takes into account all of the work that you've done up to now. You can just continue when you're ready. I mean, you can take your time and complete it over the winter break if you'd like. It's all up to you and your health.
That sounds wonderful.
The thing is, participation counts for 10% of your grade, and you've missed a lot of classes due to your illness. Well, in place of that, how about writing a 3 to 4 page paper to demonstrate what you've learned? I'd be satisfied with that.
Thank you. Thank you for being willing to work with me on this.
Well, you can't help being sick. It's important that you focus on getting better instead of stressing out over grades. I really do hope your health improves soon.
Thanks. So do I.
1. What is the student's attitude toward his situation? Two. What does the professor think of the possible arrangements? 3. How certain is the teacher that the student can complete the course this semester? 3. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Hi, Professor Peters. I was hoping you had a moment to talk about the upcoming test. I didn't do very well on the last one.
Sure, Paul. Would you like to talk about how you can prepare for the next one? I guess I'm notorious for being extremely tough.
Yeah, well, it is organic chemistry after all.
True. It's a very difficult subject.
I know, but it's really frustrating.
Well, you know what? Since the department acknowledges that my class is hard, they've required that I post all of my older tests online.
Oh, right. I had almost forgotten about that.
Well, you'd be surprised at what a great study aid those tests are. They'll help give you an idea of what to expect. Just go to the course website.
Okay, I will.
And also, the department has created online tutorials for this course. I'm sure I've mentioned that in class.
Again, I've been so caught up in trying to read the textbook that I'd forgotten about the supplementary materials. I'll definitely check them out.
Yes, read the text. Certainly do that. But these extra things will help reinforce what you're learning.
3. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Hi, Professor Cope. I know your office hours are almost over, but I really wanted to talk to you about something.
All right, but let's make it quick.
Sure. All I wanted to do was ask if it would be possible for me to switch my group discussion section to another one.
Which of the two are you currently in?
I'm in the Friday section that starts at 10 a.m. It's led by, what's the teaching assistant's name? Oh, Laura.
Would you mind if I ask you what the problem is? Obviously, it's completely confidential, but if it could help me coordinate my teaching assistants better, I'd really appreciate it. I want to make sure they're getting the job done.
No. It's not Laura at all. In fact, she's great. It's just that I have another class that starts at 9 a.m. It normally wouldn't be a problem since the class officially ends at 9:50, but the professor just keeps going on and on. I just feel bad always showing up to the discussion group at least 10 minutes late.
Oh, I see. Let me just make a note of it in my roster. So you'll be changing to the Thursday night section with Bill.
1. What does the professor initially assume about his teaching assistant? 2. What does the professor imply when he says this?
All right, but let's make it quick.
3. What does the student imply when she says this?
It normally wouldn't be a problem since the class officially ends at 9:50, but the professor just keeps going on and on.
7. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Hi, Professor Daniels. I hope I'm not bothering you. I had some questions about the paper you assigned today in class.
Hi, Isabel. It's been so long since you've come to visit me. What exactly can I help you with today? Didn't you like the topics I came up with?
Oh, that isn't it at all. The one on the comparisons of theories of change was especially fascinating. I think that topic would be so interesting to explore.
But you seem to have something else in mind. Care to share?
Ha, I guess you know me pretty well. I suppose you would by now. I've lost count of how many classes I've taken with you.
I have as well. Anyway, about this paper topic, you're keeping me on the edge of my seat here.
Oh, of course. Well, there's really nothing special about my question. What I was thinking is that I'd like to work on the paper I wrote earlier this semester, the one on Plato's theory of forms. Do you remember which one I'm talking about?
Of course. Well, why don't you tell me some more about what you would be writing about exactly?
The last time, I really only discussed the main points of his theory. Since then, I've read much more, and I think I want to explore different aspects of the theory.
Can you give me something more tangible, just so I have a good idea of what you're aiming for here?
Well, in concrete terms, I want to talk mostly about the philosophical concerns that motivated Plato's theory of forms. It would probably amount to about 10 more pages, at least the material I'm planning on covering.
That sounds really interesting. I'm having a hard time deciding if I should let you do this, though. Somehow it seems kind of unfair to the rest of the class. Everybody else will be writing on the newer material, you know.
Well, if you'll allow me to make another point on my behalf, the reason I want to expand on this paper in particular is because I'd like to submit it to the department for publication in the department magazine.
Oh, that would be great. I think so many people would really enjoy that. Okay, I'm sold. You can do it, but you'll have all the same due date and guidelines as the others.
1. Listen again to part of the conversation. Then answer the question.
Hi, Isabel. It's been so long since you've come to visit me. What exactly can I help you with today? Didn't you like the topics I came up with?
Oh, that isn't it at all.
What does the student imply when she says this?
Oh, that isn't it at all.
2. What does the student imply when he says this?
Ha, I guess you know me pretty well. I suppose you would by now. I've lost count of how many classes I've taken with you. 3. What does the professor imply when he says this?
Somehow it seems kind of unfair to the rest of the class. Everybody else will be writing on the newer material, you know.
Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor.
Hi, Martin. Good to see you. What can I help you with this afternoon?
Hi, Professor Richter. I wanted to talk to you about the paper that's due this Friday.
What's the problem? Are you having trouble writing it? If you want, sometimes it helps students to talk through a topic. In fact, I've done it with 3 other students for this paper already. I'd love to hear what kinds of ideas you've come up with.
That's the thing. I haven't really had any time to put any ideas together. See, on Friday, I'll also be taking a midterm for my chemistry class. As a prerequisite for all upper-level biology courses, I really need to do well on it. I've even been meeting with a tutor.
But when do you plan on working on your paper for my class?
Dr. Richter, I would never ask for an extension under any other circumstances, but I think this situation is different. I just didn't foresee that studying for my chemistry test would take up so much time.
Actually, I don't know about how valid an excuse that is. This paper is on the syllabus. Plus, I assigned it over a week ago. If you knew there was going to be some overlap with your chemistry test, you could have approached me about it earlier, not 2 days before the paper is due.
I'm sorry, I really just don't know what to do. I think I could do a good job on the paper if I only had the time to really explore my ideas. But as long as I'm cramming for my exam, I just don't know how I'll do that.
Martin, I don't really know that there's anything I can do for you. I think that even with 2 days, you could write a very good paper.
What happens if it's late? I mean, what if I just can't have it to you by Friday?
My policy for late papers is that I take off half of a letter grade for each day that it is late. So, if it's due on Monday, but you don't turn it in until Wednesday, the best you can get on your paper is a B. And that's assuming that the paper is worth an A to begin with.
That's pretty strict. I guess I'll just have to try my best to get it in by Friday.
30. Why does the student visit the professor? (31) Why does the student mention his chemistry class? (32) Listen again to part of the conversation, then answer the question.
Actually, I don't know about how valid an excuse that is. This paper is on the syllabus. Plus, I assigned it over a week ago. If you knew there was going to be some overlap with your chemistry test, you could have approached me about it earlier, not 2 days before the paper is due.
Why does the professor say this?
This paper is on the syllabus. Plus, I assigned it over a week ago.
33. What is the professor's attitude toward the student's problem? 34. What does the student imply when he says this?
I guess I'll just have to try my best to get it in by Friday.